Channel 4, the local station. This is an Election 2016 special, the 4th Congressional District Debate. For 16 years, Andrew Crenshaw has represented Northeast Florida on Capitol Hill. Now, as he retires, a crowded field of Republicans is vying to take his place. Tonight, the top candidates face off before voters, staking out their stances on hot-button issues like terrorism, trade, immigration, and the local presence of the Navy. Now, from the campus of Jacksonville University, here's your moderator, Channel 4's Kent Justice.
And good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to our 2016 debate for the 4th Congressional District in Florida. It's going to be a great conversation tonight. Thanks for being with us. Florida's primary is August 30th, so that's less than 2 weeks away, and that's when the registered Republicans will make their choice in this contested race, this crowded field in the primary. For the next hour, those of you who are watching at home and those here in our audience at the Swisher Theater at Jacksonville University, you're going to hear from the top 4 candidates as determined by a recent University of North Florida News for Jax poll. We're going to introduce the candidates for you in just a moment. First, here is Rick Mullaney, director of the JU Public Policy Institute.
Good evening and welcome to Jacksonville University. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, President Tim Cost, and our students and faculty, welcome to the Jacksonville University campus and this important and historic debate. Historic because since 1949, only 3 people have represented the 4th Congressional District in Congress. In those 67 years, only twice have we had a contested election in an open seat, and we have one this year. And we say important because of the critical public policy issues facing North Florida and our nation. And you'll hear about many of those this evening. Tonight's debate, co-hosted by Channel 4 and the Public Policy Institute here at Jacksonville University, gives you the opportunity to hear directly from the candidates seeking to represent the 4th Congressional District in Congress. At the Public Policy Institute, we believe elections matter, and we hope tonight's debate will help you in casting your vote. On behalf of Jacksonville University, I want to thank the candidates for their participation, Channel 4 for hosting this debate, televising this debate, and all of you for watching. Welcome to the debate, and welcome to Jacksonville University.
Thank you, Mr. Mullaney. And thank you to JU. So for this debate, we invited the candidates who polled at 3% or higher in a recent poll of likely Republican voters conducted by the University of North Florida's Public Opinion Research Lab. Let's now introduce those candidates in alphabetical order. They are Bill McClure, Lake Ray, John Rutherford, and Hans Tansler. Thank you for being here tonight. These candidates will soon make their opening statements, and then we'll begin the questioning. Each candidate will have 60 seconds to respond to my question, and then 30 seconds following that in their answers will be allowed for each candidate on each question. At any time, I can ask follow-up questions and can limit the time for those responses. There will be a 30-second rebuttal allowed as well at different times. I can limit some of the questions tonight to 30-second responses. That is at my discretion. During the debate, we're going to let the candidates know how much time they have left with some colored paddles. At 30 seconds left, at 15 seconds left, and again when their time is up. So 1 hour ago, we drew numbers that is out of a hat to determine the order for the opening statements, as well as to determine who gets the first question and who will deliver the first closing statement. Each candidate will have 1 minute for their opening statement. We're going to begin that right now, and that honor goes to Mr. John Rutherford.
Thank you, Kent. And before I begin, I'd like to thank Channel 4 and the Jacksonville University for hosting this event. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Washington is broken. They have weakened our economy, they've weakened our military, and they've weakened our southern border. I have a long history of staunch conservative leadership, 40 years in the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, 12 as sheriff. I'm the only candidate that has dealt with national security issues at the local, state, and federal level. I also, as sheriff, was CEO of an organization of $498 million budget, 3,200 employees, 1,600 of them carrying guns. But as a husband, father, and grandfather, I want to tell you why I'm in this race. I'm in this race because less than 4 hours from where you sit, less than 4 hours from where my grandchildren sleep, we had 50 U.S. citizens murdered by a failed immigration policy and failed national security intelligence policy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. By order of the drawing, Mr. McClure, your opening statement.
Thank you. I'm Bill McClure, I'm running for Congress because in America, I believe that too many people actually believe in the premise that a larger government will somehow make our lives better, when in fact, nothing could be further from the truth. You see, our founding documents affirmed our God-given rights and created a separate, balanced, limited government to forever protect those rights. Soon you'll embark on your journey to choose one of us who will represent you as your next United States House of Representatives. And you'll hope that they will understand how to use the power of the purse to ensure the right and the role of a limited government. I'm the outsider. I've self-funded my campaign, I've taken no special interest, and I will decline the federal pension. My name is Bill McClure. I ask you to lend me your ear for the next hour and understand what differentiates me from my other candidates. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McClure. Again, by order of the drawing, Mr. Tanzler, your opening statement.
Yeah, thank you, Kent. I'm Hans Tanzler, a conservative outsider, born in Jacksonville, married 41 years, and have 2 great kids. I wish to be able to not be a career politician. I'm for term limits, but I'm also a fighter and a career fighter. I first began my career in Miami as a federal prosecutor, fighting narco-terrorists and putting them in jail. Thereafter, I went to fight against the IRS as a tax attorney in the private sector. I fought to fix or restructure businesses to save jobs. But I'm disgusted now with what I see in Washington and the expanded government created by Obama and his policies. I wish to demolish it. And so to that end, I seek your support. And to that end, I'm capable of doing it. I have run a state agency on behalf with the authority of Governor Scott to reduce its size and budget, and I've done it successfully. I've been endorsed by the former CIA Director of Counterterrorism as the most capable to fight terror. I'm Hans Tanzler. I seek your support.
Thank you, Mr. Tanzler. And Mr. Ray, your opening statement.
Well, thank you, Ken. It's nice to be here tonight. My name is Lake Ray, and I'm running for Congress. I'm a professional engineer. I'm a business owner. I'm a family man. I've been married for 33 years. I'm an 8th-generation Floridian. And like you, I am fed up with what is going on in Washington, D.C. We have sent people to Washington to represent us, and they have forgotten the people that they are to serve. They have forgotten that this is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And it is time that we return it back to us and send somebody up there who's going to represent us. I have worked with Governor Scott in the state legislature to create 1 million jobs. Of those, 150,000 jobs I created for our ports and for our port system here in Jacksonville. I am pro-veteran and have worked to make Florida the most veteran state in the nation. I am pro-business and work to remove 3,500 regulations, and I'm endorsed by the Realtors Association. I am pro-life, and I am the only candidate that is endorsed by the National Right to Life. And finally, I am pro-gun. I am the only candidate endorsed by the National Rifle Association.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. Appreciate those opening statements, candidates. And by virtue of the drawing, and we're going to get started with our questioning now, Hans Tanzler, you'll answer first here. 60 seconds in your response, and each of you will have 30 seconds in addition on this topic. I want to start by talking about economic policy. There's a debt crisis. That should not be headline news here, but it was $10 trillion that we were in debt in 2008. Now it's nearly $20 trillion. The question to you, Mr. Tanzler, what spending and tax policies, if any, do you support that will reduce the national debt?
The premise is that we have to get government off the backs of job creators. They've got to be able to expand their business. They've got to be able to create jobs. The government has both feet on them. One is a regulatory foot that is constraining their ability to do business. The other is a taxation foot that's too high and too complicated. And so the taxation system needs to be simplified, and it needs to be reduced so that the business creator is incentivized to expand our economy, create jobs, and to create the resources that America needs to have a stronger military. And so the national debt is one of the biggest troubling aspects of the moment. It's bigger than our entire economy, $19–20 trillion. It has to be reduced. We have to balance the budget, and we have to start now before it's too late, before we go careening into a financial crisis. And so we're talking about serious issue with the debt and balancing the budget. And I am familiar with those concepts and can do it.
Thank you, Mr. Tanzler. Mr. McClure.
Yes. See, the problem is twofold in this nation. When I was elected as St. Johns County Commissioner, we had plenty of revenue, but we had a spending problem. The nation has two problems. One is a revenue and a spending problem. The revenue side is less people. We don't have enough people that are actually contributing. And I support the fair tax, and that way everybody contributes. On the spending side, I want to reduce the size of government, starting with the Department of Education, Housing and Urban Development, and audit the Fed and the Department of Treasury, and reducing the size of government that handles both.
Thank you, Mr. McClure. Mr. Ray?
Thank you, Kent. This trillion-dollar debt threatens the sovereignty of our nation. It threatens our entire economy. It is time for us to do like we did in the Florida legislature, and that's bring every agency before Congress and make sure that they know we want to cut their budget by 15%. We did it in Tallahassee, and we balanced the budgets. That's what we've got to do, is hold these agencies accountable. I'm the only candidate that has voted for a balanced budget amendment, and the only candidate that has worked budgets in that manner.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. Mr. Rutherford.
Two things that we must do to get our economic house in order. One is cut the size of the federal government, and the other is cut the executive overreach that we see within our government right now. I agree with cutting the Department of Education and HUD. That can be done through attrition. In addition to that, to stop the overreach, I support the REINS Act, which will pull this overburden of regulation back into Congress where it belongs and stop these bureaucrats in Washington from writing rules and regulations that cost our businesses $1.2 trillion just last year.
Thank you, Mr. Rutherford. So a foundation for us to get started, and I want to talk in this question about your proposed policies relating to Northeast Florida and how you make that a priority. As Mr. Mullaney mentioned a moment ago, since 1950, really 1949, only 3 people have represented this specific portion of our area in Jacksonville. Andrew Crenshaw, serving the district 16 years. His reputation was fighting for military funding, conservative spending, rights for the disabled. So with his retirement and with Representative Corrine Brown challenged in the 5th District, many believe this is a crucial election for Northeast Florida interests. As a congressman representing District 4, what are your top priorities for North Florida, and how do you plan to get them accomplished? Mr. McClure, you'll begin here with that 60-second response.
Well, when I'm elected to Congress, we all hope to get on a particular committee or subcommittee, either the Armed Forces or Armed Services Committee, which is important in Northeast Florida and the economy. In addition to the military, there's about 50,000 in all 3 counties, 50,000 employees who support the military. I'd also like to be on the government overreach panel. And in addition to that, try to get on the budget or subcommittee, on the budget subcommittee. What I would do is actually make sure that I represent you, the constituents of Northeast Florida, on any of those committees, and making sure that we ensure our priorities. But remember, a limited government is best for all people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McClure. Mr. Ray.
Thank you, Kent. The economy is by far the most important thing that we need to be working on here in our regional area. We have great opportunities that continue to pass us by, and that's because we don't have the correct focus, and we're working on that focus now. And that focus is on Jacksport, the deepening of the river, and also to make sure that Mayport, the naval station, both of those are working here in our area because of the regional impact and what it does for our economy. So we must make sure we protect Mayport, protect NAS, and to work other programs for our economy.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. Mr. Rutherford?
3 committees that I believe are essential for Northeast Florida and our country is, number 1, Armed Services, as was mentioned earlier, also transportation. Folks, Jacksonville, Northeast Florida, has tremendous potential as the logistics center for the entire East Coast of our country. In addition to that, with my experience in national security issues, I'd love to be on the Committee of Homeland Security with counterterrorism and intelligence.
Thank you, Mr. Rutherford. Mr. Tanzler.
Yes, Kent. Jacksonville is a military town. I've spent my 61 years here knowing that. And so the first priority is to be on the Armed Services Committee. It is to protect our military bases. It's to protect the veterans who have served us so well that are being underserved right now. It's to look out for all aspects of the military. In addition, it is also economic. It is that creation of the economy that will support our community. It is also the knowledge of the river, and it's the knowledge of bringing support that will help protect the river. And my knowledge...
Thank you, Mr.
Oh, sorry.
That's time. It goes quickly. I understand. I do want to stay on a similar topic because we're talking about the priorities you have for Northeast Florida. I want to talk about earmarks. In the past few years, Congress banned earmarks. As you know, that's when Congress directs federal spending in the appropriations process to specific projects or initiatives. And without them, all the funding gets sent to agencies. They determine where that money is spent. So this is a rule, not law, so earmarks could be reinstituted. Do you support bringing them back? And if not, how would you ensure that Florida taxpayer dollars are spent here in the district? Mr. Ray, you get that question first.
Well, thank you, Kent. The historic reference to this began with George Washington, so earmarks have been a part of our policy for a long, long time. The problem has been it has not been open. It needs to be open conversation and clear and transparent for the public to see. It is important for us to look at ways in which we can, in fact, bring earmarks back, because otherwise it is left to the administration. And this administration is not necessarily very friendly to a Republican Northeast Florida. And therefore, we need to make sure that we have open, clear, concise, and definitive earmarks that will protect our river, dredge our river, and protect Mayport.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ray. Mr. Rutherford on earmarks.
Ladies and gentlemen, what I support is we have to have accountability in Congress. What we have through appropriations right now is continuing resolutions where costs continue to go up, appropriations are passed by the Congress, and then you have bureaucrats on the executive side who decide how that money is going to be spent. Congressmen need to put their name on bills for appropriations. In addition to that, they are violating the non-delegation. I'm sorry.
All right, thank you, Mr. Rutherford. Mr. Tanzler.
Yes, I'm definitely against earmarks, and believe it or not, I'm the only candidate that's against earmarks. All of my other candidates have stated publicly last week that they're for earmarks. Earmarks is one of the problems with Washington. It's where crony politics and career politicians have their heyday. It is throwing in the pork that expands the government and helps make our budget be out of balance. I'm against earmarks. And then we have to use your ability to cajole and to create teams of support for those things that can bring support to Jacksonville, and I'm able to do that.
Thank you, Mr. Tanzler. Mr. McClure.
Well, the reason we're talking about earmarks is actually because some people and some congressmen have actually abused them. There's been abuse of a power. So we went to an actual appropriations bill. But the problem with that is with 12 appropriations bill, if Congress doesn't agree, they're spending plus some. So what happens when you put the money into the agencies, executive orders apply. And what we've seen is that the current administration has used executive orders to direct all of the money rather than congressmen. So I say bring them back.
So 3 in favor of, Mr. Tanzler, not in favor of. Short clarifying question here for you in 30 seconds to respond. So how do you ensure that Florida taxpayer dollars are spent in Northeast Florida?
Well, the federal dollars, you do it through creating teamwork. You work with your fellow congressmen. You create priorities. You try to use that to marshal support, to try to get the bills that are necessary to support Northeast Florida. And you do it through teamwork, and you do it through intelligence. And that will be challenging for all of us because we'll be freshman congressmen, but nevertheless, we will be able to do it through lifetime experiences of creating teamworks and delivering deliverables that help our constituents.
Thank you, Mr. Tanzler. Mr. Rutherford, we're going to have you answer first here. We're switching topics a little bit here. This is the Republican candidates in a congressional debate. So let's talk about this. For everybody right now, by a show of hands, do you endorse the Republican nominee for president, Donald Trump? Thank you. Individually, and I'll start with you, Mr. Rutherford, just the name, if you would. Who did you support in the Republican primary for president?
Pardon me?
Who did you support in the primary?
I support Mr. Trump right now. He wasn't my first pick.
Who was your first pick is the question.
I actually voted for Marco Rubio.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Tanzler, who did you vote for in the primary?
In the primary, voted for Rubio.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McClure?
Well, since I was a St. Johns County Commissioner and self-funded my campaign in 2012, Trump was a follower, so of course I voted for Mr. Trump.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. Who did you...
And I supported Marco Rubio.
Thank you very much. So here's the question, and Mr. Rutherford, all of you will have full time of response on this. Mr. Trump recently criticized the Gold Star family who'd lost their son in Iraq. He called U.S. federal judge biased and unfair in the Trump University case because his parents were Mexican immigrants. He called President Obama the founder of ISIS. He said voting in the U.S. was rigged against him. Do you agree with Mr. Trump on any or all of that? And given these statements, are you still endorsing him?
Yes, I am still endorsing him, and I will tell you, although Mr. Trump often says things very poorly, I think at the core usually of what he's speaking, he's correct. For example, on the issue of refugees being brought to this country from Syria and Iraq, I agree completely with him that we need to freeze this refugee resettlement to this country. If we cannot vet someone properly, I don't care what faith they have, they should not be coming to this country. In fact, we have a huge issue with folks coming across our southern border as well, which is why I started a 287G program in our jail, which gave us the ability at the local level to begin processing for deportation those criminal illegal aliens who wound up in our jail. Year to date, we have 2,281 of them that have actually been processed for deportation. And so we are not a sanctuary city, but we are in danger when you bring people to this country and resettle them, and we can't vet them properly.
Thank you, Mr. Rutherford. Mr. Tansler, do you agree with Mr. Trump in those statements?
I'm sorry?
Do you agree with Mr. Trump in those statements?
Yes, but I also disagree with my colleague here, Sheriff Rutherford, that we are a sanctuary city. And we are because of the policies of the Sheriff's Department. And they can be examined by the July 2006 article of the Times-Union by going to rutherfordrecord.com and read for yourself. What does a quote mean that if addressing illegal immigrants that have committed a crime and being here illegally, that you should have no anxiety about being here illegally because of the Sheriff's Office is here to protect your rights. And that creates a sanctuary. It creates a sanctuary city. The Sheriff's Office is the law enforcement arm of the city. It is a consolidated city of Jacksonville, and the consequence is you get a free pass on the illegal entry. And yes, if you commit a crime, like all of us here, we perhaps go to jail and perhaps subject their case to deportation, but not if they're simply here illegally. And so read for yourself. That's what I'm relying on, and that's what I'm explaining.
All right, Mr. Rutherford, you got 30 seconds if you'd like to respond to that.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, we are not a sanctuary city. We did not, that comment is not about quelling the fears of illegal immigrants who are in Jacksonville. It was quelling the fears of victims of murder and rape who happen to be illegals as well, so that they would come forward so that we could get this criminal element out of our community that was killing and raping, not just in that community, but across our city. And so we needed, and look, those folks, when they are a victim or a witness to a violent crime, they're eligible for a U visa anyway.
Thank you, Mr. Rutherford. Mr. McClure, I want to get back to the original question here. Do you agree with Mr. Trump in those statements I read to you earlier? And given those statements, do you still endorse him?
Well, first of all, I did vote for him. Of course, I endorse him. And even the president of the free world has his protection under the First Amendment rights. So whether I agree with him or I don't, look, he's from the Northeast. I had an office in the Northeast. They say just whatever rolls off their tongue. So we can't control what he says. Even the president, even though I may not agree with it, as a congressman, I have to protect his right, and that's protected under his First Amendment.
Thank you, Mr. McClure. Mr. Ray.
Thank you, Kent. In terms of Donald Trump, I think he can say things a little bit better sometimes. However, I believe his sentiment is understood by the public, and I continue to support him. In terms of the program that Sheriff Rutherford wants to talk about, there's something that's a real issue there, however. The 287G program is a failed program by the federal government. And the performance that he has is so low by comparison of the other states that put this in. This is not something that was ingenious that he came up with. And he was not the one who was deporting these immigrants. It was others that were deporting them in the federal government. Failed policies at the federal government is the problem. And being a sheriff and using policies in the federal government are not solutions that are actually anything new here.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. Mr. Rutherford, would you like to respond?
Yes, thank you. In fact, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office just received, I think a month ago, an award from ICE, the Immigration Customs and Enforcement agency that is responsible for deporting illegal immigrants. And they gave us an award for our participation with them through the 287G program. No, we are probably not deporting as many, thank God, as California or Arizona or some other states, but this is not a failed program. It's a very effective program. To think that 2,281 criminal illegal aliens have been removed from Jacksonville is not a problem.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rutherford. And thank you, candidates. We're just getting warmed up here. We still have more questions for our candidates. We want you to stay with us. We're going to take a short break in our Election 2016 special. The Congressional District debate for the 4th Congressional District continues in 2 minutes.
Where is Jacksonville University?
And welcome back to our Election 2016 special tonight, the 4th Congressional District debate from the campus of Jacksonville University. Thanks for being with us tonight. We've got more questions for our 4 candidates who are taking part tonight: Bill McClure, Lake Ray, John Rutherford, and Hans Tanzler. And at this point, we begin our next question with Mr. Tanzler. Donald Trump has advocated the deportation of 11 million illegal immigrants. To begin here, do you support deporting 11 million illegal immigrants? And if so, how much would that cost, and how would you do it?
Well, it'd be difficult and it would be costly, but we're a nation of laws. And if the laws are not being enforced, then we're not being the appropriate nation by allowing illegal immigrants to be here. They need to be identified and needs to be a process of deportation commenced, but that process should only begin after we close the borders and do not allow the invasion to continue. The expense is going to be expensive, all of it's expensive, but we failed to enforce the laws, and to that extent, then there are going to be consequences, and I think that it needs to be enforced.
All right, thank you, Mr. Tanzler. Mr. McClure, the question of would you deport 11 million illegal immigrants, and how would you do it? How would you afford it?
Well, first of all, my mother was born in Rome, Italy, and she came here legally. So can't everyone come here legally? In fact, we have tourist visas for 90 days. We have work visas. We have H-1 and H-2 visas. If you want to come here, you need to come here legally. The problem is all of the economic detriment that happens in this country when we allow unsecure borders. So how are we going to, the question is how are we going to afford it? Really the question is how can we not afford to?
Thank you, Mr. McClure. Mr. Ray, do you support this deportation plan? And if not, what's your plan to deal with illegal immigration besides securing the border?
Well, thank you, Kent. I think that the first thing we've got to do is make sure we secure our border. I believe everybody's in agreement with that because it threatens our national sovereignty. The second thing is that we need to identify these people. The federal government has failed us in identifying the people who are left in our cities and our state. We need to make sure that we do that. I've worked on initiatives because the federal government has failed, and I've taken those initiatives. One of those is a driver's license, allowing illegal immigrants to get driver's licenses because otherwise they're driving, and then we will know where they are when Donald Trump is elected to go get them. I've voted against the Sharia law. I have voted against.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. Mr. Rutherford, on this notion of deporting 11 million illegal immigrants, do you favor it? How would you afford it?
Listen, first of all, we do have to secure the border first and foremost. Secondly, we need to start enforcing among our corporations E-Verify. If they can't work, they'll go back home. They will self-deport. And then third and finally, I think 287G ought to be a mandatory program in every jail in this country where we're identifying criminal illegal aliens when they are arrested and deport them at that point.
All right, thank you. So, Mr. McClure, start for us here on this. It's the same topic, different kind of question. Donald Trump, that is, supports building a physical wall on the border between the U.S. and Mexico. Do you support building a wall?
Well, first of all, let's make it clear. Donald Trump didn't come up with the idea. Congress came up with the idea in 2006. It's called the Secure Fence Act of 2006. It mandated that we build a physical wall across our southern border. And then we started on that project, except for executive orders have cut a hole right through that wall so illegals can come directly in. I support building the wall. That's what we're supposed to do. And until Congress makes a second decision on that, I will continue to support that.
Mr. Ray, your view.
Well, I think a physical wall is certainly something that says that the United States is not free to somebody just to walk in. A physical wall is something I would certainly be happy to support. I think the thing that we continue to need to do is identify those who are coming through our borders that are unsecured and those who are coming in visa programs and deciding to stay, whether they're coming for education or for business or for travel, whatever reason that they're coming here. We need to make sure that the federal government is working to identify those people and bring them out.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. Mr. Rutherford.
We absolutely have to secure our border. Does it have to be a physical wall for the entire length? Maybe not. It could be electronic. But we do know from Israel that walls work. They have used them very effectively. In addition to that, they have taken tremendous advances in tunneling technology that we are now going to have access to help secure our southern border as well, because the tunnels are amazing if you look at how they are tunneling under the walls that currently exist.
Thank you, Mr. Rutherford. Mr. Tanzler.
Yes, it needs to be a physically identified barrier. If it's made of bricks and mortar, so be it. If it's electronic, so be it. It needs to be effective to stop the invasion. And so physically, it needs to be identifiable and effective. And so that's the first priority. And as a footnote, I agree with legal immigration. Immigrate through Ellis Island and be a productive member of society and do it right.
Thank you very much, candidates. Let's shift our focus to trade policy tonight. Donald Trump says that he opposes NAFTA, opposes the TPP, that's the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement. Now, the Republican Party has historically been the party supporting free trade. But NAFTA, passed by President Clinton, that is. TPP, proposed by President Obama. The TPP is favored by the U.S. National Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Ray, you get to begin our answers on this question. If in Congress, would you vote for or against TPP, and why?
Well, Kent, I would vote against TPP because we're negotiating against ourselves. We're negotiating with multiple countries. It's time for us to just do bilateral agreements where that we can go in and negotiate with one country to get the agreement that we want. And the last thing that we need to be doing is negotiating against ourselves. In the process of doing so, we're encouraging, in fact, driving businesses away. Our manufacturing base has been lost as a result of this. And it's time for us to stop that unconscionable actions that are going on. We must take actions to support our businesses here. And if we're going to enter into agreements, let's make these fair trade agreements and do as Donald Trump is saying. The concept of this currency manipulation is also driving down the opportunities for our businesses to interact in trade agreements.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ray. Mr. Rutherford, your thoughts here? Are you saying you favor or oppose free trade? What's your position on TPP?
I am definitely in favor of free trade, but it also has to be fair trade. And when we negotiate with 28 countries, we are not serving the best interest of America. I think we go back to bilateral agreements where we are looking out for the interest of America first. Another thing that we need to do is address the taxing situation. Our international corporations are taxed twice, when they make it in Japan, for example, and then when they bring that revenue back to America. I support a repatriation exemption so that we can bring those $2 trillion sitting offshore back to America to create jobs.
Thank you, Mr. Rutherford. Mr. Tanzler.
I would oppose TPP. It is a bad trade deal. A free trade deal that can be written on one page is the kind of trade deal I would support. The trade deals that are thick with conditions that are only imposed on ourselves by our own conscience and legal enforcement creates a one-way street against us and facilitates the competition to be able to take advantage of us. And so I'm against TPP because of the conditions that only we seem to impose on ourselves and the others do not.
All right, thank you, Mr. Tanzler. Mr. McClure.
Well, of course I support free trade, but what's the definition of free? If that's a special interest group making millions or billions of dollars for us supporting a trade agreement with someone who doesn't have the same EPA regulations, the same workforce regulations, and the same overall freedom of the democracies, then they're not really an ally for us. That was a special interest, and that's really the problem with NAFTA. Even our agriculture in Northeast Florida has had EPA restrictions, but yet we can import potatoes and broccoli and vegetables, and it's just not fair.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Let's talk about foreign policy, certainly on the minds of many. as alluded to even in some of the opening statements tonight, to talk about terrorism, ISIS, what have you. Mr. Rutherford, we're going to have you begin the answers here. The presidential nominee for your party, the Republicans, famously said that he would temporarily ban all Muslims from entering the country, and his quote, until we figure out what the hell is going on. So here's the question. Do you support banning all Muslims temporarily from entering the country?
I support banning anyone from coming to this country when we cannot properly vet them. I don't care if they're Muslim, Christian, Jew, I don't care what their faith is. If we can't vet them properly, they ought not be coming to this country. The issue of the refugees in Syria and Iraq, we can better help those people who, many of them, want to remain in their country, where they have their language and their culture. They don't want to come to the United States. Let's create safe zones. It's been done in South Africa, for example. Let's create safe zones to take care of those folks outside of their cities, but in their countries. And we don't need to be bringing people to this country when we cannot vet them properly. And Jim Comey, the director of the FBI, has said very clearly, folks from that region cannot be vetted properly.
Thank you, Mr. Rutherford. Mr. Tanzler, in addition to that, I guess maybe explain what policy you do support in terms of dealing with terrorism.
Well, there's a policy of through strength comes peace, and also the policy that we need to strengthen our military so it can be cooperative with the CIA and more covert operations so we can strike terrorism overseas and get them before they get to us, because we are at war. At least war has been declared on us by radical Islamic terrorists. And we maybe have not really acknowledged that. And so we need to be strong as possible and as forthright and realistic as possible by striking them there before they get here. When they're here, it's too late. And so stopping them before they enter is paramount.
Thank you. And so I may have thrown you off track there. Yes or no, do you agree with temporarily banning all Muslims from entering the country?
I would disagree in this extent, that they have to be vetted. I agree with the sheriff on that. Okay. And so stopping all may be inconsistent with legal immigration. To have legal immigration helps a productive America if the immigrant is willing to assimilate into the American society and become an American in the American dream.
I appreciate the clarification. Thank you, sir. Mr. McClure, how do you feel on this topic?
Well, actually, we're supposed to be following the immigration reform of 1986, which actually does have vetting. We're just not following the rule of law. See, that's the cancer of America, is actually from the folks who are coming here and not following our law, whether it's Sharia law or other laws. They're not following our Christianity, our faith, and our laws. And we need to get back to the rule of the law, which is to vet them before they come in.
Thank you, Mr. McClure. Mr. Ray.
Well, Kent, we do have to have proper vetting, and that's been a problem. The federal government has failed to protect the interests of the American public, which is fundamental in our Constitution. I put forward legislation this year to have vetting processes put in place for refugees because the federal government has failed us. It would have empowered the governor to do background checks. I'm the only candidate that has already taken initiatives to protect our interests as citizens of the state and citizens in our country.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. Mr. Rutherford, I need to ask a direct question here for you. One of my colleagues attended a forum this month that you spoke at, the National Association of Retired Cops. At that meeting, I'm told that you said the Black Lives Matter movement should be labeled a terrorist organization. So what do you mean by that, and how do they compare with ISIS or Al-Qaeda or who we think of as terrorists?
Yeah, specifically, Kent, what I said was they should be labeled a hate group. That's exactly what I said. And look, I stand by that. This group, if you look at the rhetoric that's coming out, marching down the streets of New York talking about frying police officers like pigs in a bacon in a blanket or something like that. Horrible rhetoric to attack police. And then a couple weeks later, we have a couple police officers that are murdered, sitting in their squad car. Yes, they should be labeled a hate group. Now, they may not go out and commit the violence themselves, but they certainly use their rhetoric to light the fuse under individuals like Micah Johnson, who killed 5 Dallas, Texas police officers. And that's another reason I'm in this race, because 5 Dallas, Texas police officers were killed by a culture of death and violence that I've seen begin to take deep root in this country. And I've talked about it for the last 12 years as sheriff. That's why I'm in this race.
All right, thank you. I want to give each candidate, Mr. Tanzler, McClure, and then Ray, just 30 seconds to respond since we got a little off topic there, and I don't want to leave you out. Your thoughts, Black Lives Matter, hate group, terrorist group, or something else?
Well, the hate groups or any group that is by design and rhetoric to incite violence with the view to kill you, it should be labeled a hate group. And we should be realistic about that. And we should be in favor of the death penalty with respect to those who commit those crimes. And I am in favor of the death penalty, and one of my colleagues here is not. And so I think we need to be forthright and honest about those who want to kill us.
All right, thank you. Mr. McClure.
Well, the whole idea of selective enforcement through the color of your skin is horrible. And so whether that's selective enforcement here in Jacksonville that happened, whether you're an illegal and you're committing a crime or not, or what the color of your skin, that's just horrible and that's wrong and that shouldn't happen. So I don't think that it's necessarily a race issue, but if we have the laws, when the law is broken, you're treated equal. Everyone has an equal protection and an equal right under the law, and we should follow that.
Thank you very much. Mr. Ray, to close us out.
Kent, all lives matter, and that's the end of the day. In terms of other organizations, it's time for us to have a conversation, and that's the problem. We're not having a conversation. It is obvious that there's disagreements between races, and we need to work on that. We need to have that conversation, bring everybody together and work, because there is a problem. If it's perceived and believed to be a problem, it is a problem. I've been working with our community, and it doesn't matter what their background is. It doesn't matter what their ethnicity is. It doesn't matter what their economic background is. We need to make sure that we move forward and create job opportunities for all.
Thank you.
So that all lives will matter.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. I appreciate it. I appreciate each of you candidates. We've got one more segment. We're going to have some questions. So stay with us. Got more questions for our candidates to come in this Election 2016 special, the 4th Congressional District debate. We continue in 2 more minutes.
I vote because I'm conservative.
And welcome back to our Election 2016 special tonight, the 4th Congressional District debate from the campus of Jacksonville University. We enter into our final few moments here. We've got just a few more questions for our 4 candidates taking part. Bill McClure, Lake Ray, John Rutherford, and Hans Tanzler. Our next question begins with Mr. Tanzler. Mr. Rutherford, I just asked a direct question of. I'd like to ask you a direct question here. In one of your campaign ads, the announcer states that you have an A rating from the NRA, and in reality, the NRA has given you a AQ rating because you don't have a voting record on the issue. The graphic in the video does say AQ rating, but is the ad deceptive when the NRA has given Mr. Rutherford the same rating, when he in fact given Mr. Ray an A rating and their endorsement?
Yes, I got an AQ rating because of the reasons that I've not held the public office that would otherwise support that legislatively. I'm the same as Sheriff Rutherford. And so the rating system of the NRA is whatever it is. But the reality is that Sheriff Rutherford is not in favor of many aspects of the Second Amendment. He is opposed to stand your ground in some ways, or has at least articulated opposition, the duty to retreat instead of being able to stand your ground in the face of threats of serious bodily harm. He stated he's been for registration of guns by sellers, private sellers. And so the reality is the history of his record. He may have had campaign conversion that got the application correct. So we ended up with the same rating. But the reality is history. And this, again, is described in the newspaper articles that I've been reading and that I've been relying upon. But it is correct, I'm AQ. And if he had said otherwise, it's wrong, and I retract it to that extent.
Thank you very much. Mr. Rutherford, you mentioned you.
Like the A rating, all of the other charges that you just heard are also false. In fact, I never opposed stand your ground. Neither did the other 66 sheriffs of the state of Florida that I was representing as our legislative chair for 9 years. We did not oppose stand your ground. What we opposed was trying to add firing warning shots into stand your ground. We don't even allow our officers to fire warning shots. We certainly don't want citizens firing warning shots.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your rebuttal there. Mr. McClure, I have a direct question for you as well tonight. you were accused in 2014 of Medicaid and Medicare fraud. The state of Florida's Attorney General's office this week refused to comment on that to me, saying it's an ongoing and an active investigation. So in light of that, should you be running for office?
Well, that's a great question. First of all, if you've done nothing wrong, then I wouldn't be, if I've done something wrong, then I wouldn't be standing here in front of all these people in a live television audience running for Congress. Second of all, is yes, in fact, we had a disgruntled employee who went to the Attorney General's office, and then it became a political witch hunt. They came in, they asked for documents, they asked me to respond. I did that in 2014, I responded. I haven't heard from them, nor do I ever expect to hear from them again.
All right, thank you, Mr. McClure. Mr. Ray, direct question for you. Back on Memorial Day weekend of this year, your Twitter account reportedly posted a couple of photos of you at a cemetery, apparently the National Cemetery. Using that in any way for political activities would violate Veterans Affairs rules. Your campaign told FloridaPolitics.com at the time it was not a political statement. But the profile image for your Twitter account there says Lake Ray for Congress. I should point out the tweet was quickly deleted, it was revised, but did you make a mistake in posting that?
Kent, I didn't make a mistake in posting that. I was at the grave of my wife's Uncle Harold, who was a World War II Pearl Harbor survivor. I had celebrated Memorial Day with him on a number of occasions down at our wall. I have a beautiful picture on my desk that I remember. And I honor all of our veterans. The fact is that a picture was taken, yes, it was posted, and it was because it was Memorial Day. There was no violation that was in there. I read those regulations. And if there were violations, there are others that are on this stage here who have actually created true violations because they have failed to put the lack of endorsement with military underneath it. No, I didn't make a mistake. It was the shenanigans that were put on by a former sheriff.
All right. I appreciate your responses. And candidates, I know those direct questions are difficult. Here's a final question. Here's a final question in the audience. Behave. All right. Here is a... He didn't name you, sir, so I'm not going to allow a rebuttal there. All right. So, gentlemen, in this order, I just need a 15-second response on tax policy. Do you support this Donald Trump plan that various people say if you do that, you're going to add trillions to the national debt by abolishing the estate tax, individual margin rates, et cetera? Mr. McClure, if you'd start.
Well, his tax plan is taking 7 tax rates down to 3, and hoping that the capitalistic society and business owner and the entrepreneurship that makes America free will actually work and will free the economy. I believe that will happen, but I still support the fair tax.
Thank you very much. Mr. Ray.
I believe in the process he's doing because lowering taxes will provide more money to our citizens and let everybody have that opportunity. It will invigorate our economy and stimulate as we have done previously in the Reagan years.
Thank you very much. Mr. Rutherford.
I support a flat tax. I support reducing the brackets, but I also think that we should be taxing consumption instead of income.
Thank you, Mr. Rutherford. Mr. Tanzler.
Yes.
Tax policy.
Tax policy?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I definitely support a simpler income tax or consumption tax. It needs to be simpler. I have a legal master's in federal tax law, and I know how to do it, either one. And so the 16th Amendment authorizes an income tax. If it's going to remain, it needs to be flatter and simpler. It is too complicated, even for me.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, candidates. Now time for candidates to make their closing statements. Each of you, as you know, will have 1 minute. And as determined by a random drawing beforehand, we are going to begin with Mr. Lake Ray.
Thank you, Kent. It's been nice to be here with everybody this evening and share a few thoughts. You will be voting for Congress District 4. When you go to vote, you will not be voting for an engineer. You will not be voting for a sheriff. You will not be voting for a tax attorney, neither will you be voting for a county commissioner. You will be voting for a member of Congress. A member of Congress is a legislator. There is only one person on this stage that has that experience, that you have a record that you can look at and you can depend on, knowing that in fact, you have a conservative Republican candidate who has worked with Governor Scott to create 1 million jobs, who has worked to reduce regulations by 3,500. You have a candidate that you can look at that you will know supports our Second Amendment and is the only candidate endorsed by the NRA.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ray. Final statement here for Bill McClure.
Well, you've heard Mr. Ray say that he's the only legislator, but he forgets that I'm actually a St. Johns County commissioner. So that's what we do every day. And that's the government closest to the people. Since 2012, I was elected. Now, remember, prior to that, I would spend a lifetime in private business as an entrepreneur. And I'm lucky that it's afforded me the business to now come before you. And so this is a tremendous opportunity. But let's take a look at my record since 2012 and applying conservative values. In St. Johns County, unemployment went from 8.5% down to 3.2%. More than 300 regulations were repealed. 11,000 new jobs were created. And St. Johns County was rated number 5 in CNN Money Magazine as the best job creation in the nation. I don't believe that conservative fiscal values has any jurisdictional boundary, and I'm excited that St. Johns County is now in the new 4th Congressional District. Vote Bill McClure, August 30th. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. McClure. Mr. John Rutherford, your final statement.
Thank you, Kent. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the only candidate in this race that has a long history of staunch conservative leadership. I have also the experience of dealing with the national security issues at a local, state, and federal level for all of Northeast Florida. I've ran our Regional Domestic Security Task Force. I've worked on the Joint Terrorism Task Force with the FBI. I helped create the Law Enforcement Network Exchange that brought together 106 law enforcement agencies in Northeast and Southeast, Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia. And as sheriff, I ran a $498 million business where I was leading, directing, and staffing 3,200 employees, 1,600 of which carry guns. And let me say that I fought hard for Northeast Florida as your sheriff, and I will fight hard for you in Washington, D.C. I ask you on August 30th to vote for John Rutherford because that's a vote for integrity, honesty, and excellence.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rutherford. Our final closing statements tonight from Mr. Hans Tanzler.
Thank you, Ken. I'm running for Congress for the right reasons. I'm not a placeholder. I'm not a career politician. I've never run for public office before. I'm running because I want to help save America. And I remember my dad, Hans Tanzler Jr., as mayor, said to me, if you ever run for office, you had better be a statesman. And statesman means you've got an internal compass. It means that you know the difference between right and wrong and not buffeted by the winds or special interests. My compass points due north, and due north is the Constitution, its fundamental freedoms, its family values, and national security. If you're fed up with politics as usual, then you should not be thinking about anybody other than me, because I'm not a career politician. I have the ability to speak for we the people. I'm fed up with Washington, and that's why I'm running. And so if you're fed up, as I am, then vote for me so we can go together and break some furniture in D.C.
Mr. Tanzler, thank you. Thank you to each of our candidates tonight, and that does conclude our 4th Congressional District debate. Remember, only registered Republicans are able to vote in this primary.